Good afternoon and welcome to Northern Beaches Council's local planning panel. My name's Marcia Downey and I'm the chair of today's meeting, and we also have on our panel today our community representative who's Carolyn Hill, and our two experts are Jason Perica and Lisa Bella Esposito, both of whom are very experienced town planners. Before I start, I'd like to, on behalf of the panel and on behalf of the council, pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the various lands on which we are meeting or from which we are meeting today, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. In terms of conflicts of interest, each of the panel members has signed a declaration confirming that they do not have conflicts of interest. Except for Jason Perica, who has a conflict in relation to 4.1 and also 4.3. So he will be absenting himself for the panel's work on those two items. But just for the record, I'll ask the panel to confirm, subject to your qualifications, Jason, you don't have any conflicts of interest?
No further ones than those you've mentioned, thanks.
Thank you. Lisa Bella?
No.
And Carolyn?
No, I don't.
And I'm confirming that I also don't have any conflicts in relation to today's agenda. We have the minutes of the previous panel meeting held on the 20th of August, and this panel is just confirming that they were adopted by the chair of that meeting, and they've been posted on the council's website. If everybody could please turn off your microphones when you're not speaking, that would be very helpful, because that'll avoid echoing and feedback, which makes it difficult to hear. It'll also avoid background noise. So we have for today's meeting 6 items, and I'm proposing to go through them in the order in which they appear on council's agenda. The first item will be 5 Skyline Place, French's Forest. So in relation to the speakers, each speaker is allowed 3 minutes in which to make your points. So the panel is aware of your submissions, so there's no reason to repeat your submissions. This is really your opportunity to make your key points to the panel. And at 3 minutes, Livia, who's assisting us from council, will let you know that you've reached your allocated time. Following submissions, the panel will have the opportunity to ask questions of any speakers. And at the end of the public hearing, the panel will retire into closed session to deliberate and determine each of the applications. Usually the determinations are made on the same day following this public meeting, and they'll be posted on council's website within 24 to 48 hours. So I'll now call on the first application on the public agenda, which is 5 Skyline Place, French's Forest. And I just need to find my speakers list, which...
And I'll just absent myself and join for the following item.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, so for 4.1, 5 Skyline Place, French's Forest, we have 2 objectors registered, Paul Clark and Gail Hallinan, and we also have the applicant, Paula Motek, registered to speak. Paul, would you like to proceed?
Paul Clark, you mean? Hello?
Hi, we can hear you. Thank you. It's a little bit faint, so...
Okay. Is that better?
That is better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm Paul Clark. I'm addressing you as a resident, but I'm also the chairman of the Strata Committee here, so I know everybody in the place. You may not be aware, but there was a meeting of all residents back in March when this was first put forward, and of the of all of the apartments, there was unanimous objection to the childcare centre, as you would have seen by the amount of objections. Although council is satisfied with the changes that have been proposed, we do not agree. We still have concerns. The site suitability, noise and social impact sections, both 5 and 7 Skyline Place are predominantly seniors apartments. There are 52 apartments in 7 and 104 in 5. That's in total about 240 people when it's all done. Clearly, council and the developer do not understand what a seniors living community is all about, because they wouldn't propose a childcare centre right where they proposed it if they did. It's so close to our homes and our community. It will have adverse social impact on us. We'll have to. It's so close. We'll have to close our apartment doors and windows to try to minimise the noise impacts, and that's going to reduce our access to fresh air, and and really make it quite a claustrophobic environment. Also, the loss of a significant portion of the tranquil green space that we were all promised when we bought into this place will pretty much encourage us to withdraw inside our apartments and adversely affect our community. So from a social and site suitability and noise, still not satisfied that it covers the issues. The loss of landscaping, it's about 600 out of 2,800 square metres of green space that's been reduced. As per the original DA approval, that 600 wasn't a loss, it wasn't there. This area will be fenced off by necessity for a playground, and it will be inaccessible to us, the residents. And the reduction in density and height of shrubs and trees that go with that playground will just be a further negative impact. Traffic, we think that the proposed dual entry exit ramp at the southeast end corner is a good thing. That is necessary. Irrespective of the childcare centre, it's necessary. The existing exit and entry ramp at 7 Skyline Place is at capacity now, and it's quite dangerous, and there's very poor design. So adding more cars through it would be a nightmare. So the dual entries are a good idea at the other end. The remaining concerns about traffic we have are about intensity.
That's time.
Thank you, Paul. If you could just make your last point. Thank you.
Well, the last point was that the intensification of traffic is just going to be a nightmare. It's already a nightmare, and it's just going to get worse. And there is a 588 car development proposed across the way by the developer, a state significant development, and that's really just going to make Skyline Place non-functional. And you'll all be responsible for approving things that are just going to make our lives dangerous. So effectively, we don't want it. And we hope you understand that this is predominantly a seniors living community here, not a childcare centre or a commercial development. It's a seniors living apartment community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Panel, do you have any questions for Paul? No. Thank you very much for addressing the panel, Paul. So we now have also Gail Hallinan. Gail, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Oh, good, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to address the panel. Like Paul, I'm a member of the Strata Committee. I'm the Secretary of the Strata Committee. And I want to add a few things and clarify a few things that Paul spoke about. We are representative of all of the community here, the majority of whom objected to the proposal of the childcare facility. The major objection here is based on safety. The safety of the children in the proposed facility and the safety of the residents in number 7 and number 5, who I might add have had no input into this proposal, and they will be the ones who are most impacted. Why is safety a concern? Because of the impact of traffic. Council's traffic engineer has objected to this proposal from its beginning. In addressing the objections proposed by Council, one solution in the amended DA was to add 5 drop-off and pick-up parks on the private road at number 7. Now, that private road is our access driveway, services access driveway. The services provided are council garbage services, commercial garbage services for our commercial level, ambulance, police and fire brigade, as well as a drop-off for residents and commercial deliveries. How is it safe to have a drop-off and pick-up in this area? Another aspect of parking, enough spaces for employees of the facility. Now, it states that they have 8 spaces. In full capacity of 69 children in the childcare facility, they need 13 staff. Where are the other 5 going to park? Now, we have an issue with our parking. I've had to be a traffic warden downstairs in our resident visitors parking in number 7 because people, the public, come in and use our resident visitors parking. That is going to continue and it will be made worse by the impact of having the childcare facility there. In the traffic study that was done, it was stated that we would leave our apartments perhaps three times a week. People here still work. They're going to be going out at the same time as the input and output of the childcare facility. They play competition sport, golf, lawn bowls and tennis. They look after their grandchildren, so they're leaving at the same time. We are a very active community who there's no way that we only, sometimes people go out 3 times a day, not 3 times a week. So that is a very valid point that needs to be considered. It also states in the traffic report that 20 cars can stack on Skyline Place. I would object. We're living this. We've been here for 2 years. We are living with what's happening. And yes, we have a construction site next door to us. There will be another construction site on number 3 as well. At the moment,
that's time.
Thank you, Gail. If you could just make your last points, please.
All right. I would like to say that I implore council to further investigate the traffic. I really feel the traffic study has not been done in the depth that it needs to be done in consideration of all of the buildings and the people and the residents and the cars that are going to be here, and the suitability for a childcare facility in an over 55s development is just unsuitable.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
Thank you. Panel, any questions for Gail? No. All right. Well, thank you very much, Gail, for addressing the panel.
Thank you.
We also have registered a representative of the applicant, who is Paula Motek. Paula, was there anything that you wanted to say to respond to the points made by Paul and Gail?
No, I don't need to make a presentation. I was really just available to answer any questions that the panel members might have, any clarifications that were required.
Okay. Panel, do you have any questions for Paula? No. All right. Thank you very much. So thank you for addressing the panel today. We do appreciate what you have to say and taking the time to do that. So we will, we've got another 6 matters to deal with in this meeting, and then 2 more after that in the non-public, for the non-public items. So at the end of that period, the panel will adjourn to discuss the application and make its determination, and that determination will be posted on Council's website in the next 24 to 48 hours. But thank you again for attending.
Thank you.
So that completes 5 Skyline Place. Item 4.2 is 219 to 227 Ocean Street, Narrabeen, and we don't have any speakers for this item, so the panel will determine this item later on today, and its decision will be posted on Council's website Item 4.3 is 25 to 27 Kevin Avenue, Avalon Beach. This was one of the matters which Jason had a conflict in relation to. So, Jason, you've probably already withdrawn. Thank
Yeah, I'll
you.
sit out for this one. Thanks.
Thank you. So this is a review of a previous refusal for an application for demolition works and construction of seniors housing with basement parking. And we have nobody objecting to this application, and to gentlemen on behalf of the applicant panel, did you have any questions for the applicant's representatives on this one? No. Okay, well, thanks very much for attending. Oh, sorry, applicants, was there anything that you wanted to say in relation to the application? So that's Greg Boston and Sean Gartner. Greg or Sean, was there anything you wanted to say to the panel?
No, thank you, Madam Chair. No, look, obviously we just support the recommendation before you. There is a supplementary memo in relation to one of the conditions that we sought to be amended, but apart from that, we're happy with the recommendation. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks very much. And that application will be determined later on today. Sean, was there something you want to say?
No, just if there were any questions, happy to answer any questions from the panel.
Yeah, I don't think the panel does have any questions, but thank you for making yourself available. Thank you. .4 is 53A and B Warriewood Road, Warriewood, community title subdivision into 5 lots and some civil works. No speakers registered. Max Chipcase is registered to speak on behalf of the applicant. Max, are you there?
He's had to be called out. Sorry. My name's Cameron. I'm representing.
Oh, sorry, Cameron and Emily. Yeah. Hi.
Yes. Yeah. I'm the planner for the application.
Yeah. Hi, Cameron. Was there anything that you wanted to say to the panel?
Yeah,
so the panel's read your request for condition changes.
Yes, yeah, and I've seen council's supplementary memo back, so I thank them for the detailed explanation they provided on that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a couple of small points that would still like to be considered that council hadn't agreed.
Just to save you the time, the last item at the end related to, I think you wanted to, it was about the footprint, the building footprint.
Yes.
And so the panel is minded to support that one.
The recommended change?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. That was one of them. I was just to say we're not trying to get out of the density. We know if we're bound to these footprints and there's minor tweaks. We just don't want everyone to have to go through multiple modifications
Exactly. Yeah.
So massively appreciate that. Thank you. The other one I wanted to just raise was condition 2, which was the deferred commencement condition relating to the planning agreement. I note council's concerns about moving it into condition 8 and the timing there and the relevant certificates and all of that. The condition remaining as a deferred commencement condition raises significant risk for the proponent in that it reduces the time frame for that to be completed from 5 years to 2 years. There isn't any intention for the proponent to not enter into that agreement. I know significant work has been done in the background and is continuing to be done to reach that agreement. What we were hoping is that condition can just be moved into the operational conditions just to allow for any potential delays, noting that this is ultimately agreement between council and there's the whole legal aspect of having that registered and all the processes that has to go through. So ideally, if possible, we would like condition 2 to become an operational condition, just to allow for any unforeseen delays that may come from either party during those negotiations.
Do you think that's going to be a very exhausting negotiation if it's going to take 4 years for the planning?
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so. It's just about de-risking this as much as possible. Like if it does and we end up with a condition, determination that lapses because this wasn't able to be reached in time, then it undoes all of the work that's been done by not just council and the consultant planners, but by the proponent and everyone else as well. So I think it's just making sure that the determination doesn't fall through on the potential timing aspect of something that doesn't have a firm date, because it is ultimately a negotiation between council and the proponent.
Okay, all right, well, we'll consider that. Thank you, Cameron.
Thank
Was
you.
there anything else?
No, that's all. Thank you. But I'm able to answer any questions if there are any from the panel.
Panel, any questions for Cameron?
Yes, I've got one, Master. That's okay.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead, Jason.
Just so I'm understanding what you're saying with the deferred commencement and timing, you're worried that you mightn't, or that condition, because it involves others, might take longer than 2 years. So you're suggesting that, because the 5 years will still remain for the consent itself, you're just worried about the scenario of imposing.
Yeah, just in for if there's for whatever reason, whether it's our end or whether it's council, whether it's the legal side of having all of that registered, if that takes longer than 2 years, everything falls through. If it's an operational condition, we still have the 5 years, and it's not that we're anticipating in any way that it's going to take longer than 2 years.
Yeah.
It just represents a significant risk for it to remain as a deferred commencement condition when we can still have it as an operational condition that's prior to CC or subdivision certificate or whatever else it is. That, you know, if we can't satisfy that within 5 years, the consent falls through, but it's just allowing us that additional time for the negotiations to occur.
Thanks.
Thanks, Cameron. All right, Cameron, well, thank you very much. We'll determine the application later today, and the outcome will be on council's website within the next 48 hours. But thanks very much for your attendance. Okay. Bye-bye. The next item is 237 McCars Creek Road, Church Point. And we have 4 objectors to this application: Alison Hiscox, Carrion Rosenberg, Barbara Hamilton and Miranda Causey. Alison, would you like to address the panel?
Thanks for your time. I haven't put this photo up here for today. This is just my general background. This is Church Point, where I live. I'm a resident here, and we pass this site on average twice daily as part of our commute as a family. And we often use McCars Creek for leisure, so I feel closely connected to the area. I want to raise 2 key points with the panel today. First is regarding the built form and the landscaped area. I think we need to be cautious about how much flexibility is afforded to this proposal. Flexibility around planning controls surely should be the exception, not the rule. And from what I can see, it seems to be that people are just pushing the boundaries wherever they can. And in this instance, it seems to be more of a convenience than relaxed standards. This is a greenfield site. It's a blank-ish canvas. So meeting the landscape and form guidelines should be a minimum. These owners and developers are moving into a sensitive area and already pushing the limits. So considering the broader context we're all in and the importance of the environment, should we really be encouraging people to push these boundaries rather than encouraging them to respect the intention for the zone? Using other new developments as a basis is concerning, as none of them are really in accordance with the intention for the zone. So that's my first point. The second is that the DA assessment report claims the proposal won't significantly affect threatened species, and I'm sure the other speakers who know more about this will speak on this. But at least we know that the glossy black cockatoos are threatened and there's a known nesting site nearby. You don't need to be an ecologist to recognise that removing feed trees right next door would be problematic for these birds. And the proposed survey monitoring, which is dawn and dusk over 4 days, seems insufficient and doesn't account for any seasonal variations. And this is only one species. Like I said, I'm new to the area and I've learnt a lot in a short time, but there are neighbours who have a lot more knowledge and they should be listened to before the block is levelled. It was nice to hear the acknowledgement to traditional owners at the beginning, but it doesn't really mean much if we're not actually learning from them or respecting country. So yeah, they're my 2 points, maybe 3. Thanks for considering the points carefully. And I urge the panel to take a conservative and precautionary approach to ensure we protect this really, really special environment and its threatened wildlife.
Thank you, Alison. Panel, any questions for Alison? No, thank you. Please rest assured the panel does take its job very seriously and will be giving careful consideration to this application in the way that we do with all of the applications, but we very much appreciate you taking the time to address us today.
Great, thank you. I actually work for the Shire of Broome, so
Oh,
I work for another council, so remotely, obviously, but yeah, so thanks for your time.
Thanks very much, Alison. Let's see. Carrie-Anne Rosenberg, are you there, Carrie-Anne? Are you there, Carrie-Anne?
Sorry, I think the pronunciation is Karen.
Oh, Karen, sorry.
Karen,
Karen,
yep.
are you there? We might go through.
We can see she's online. Here she is. She's online.
Oh, great. Okay.
Karen? We can see her online if you wanted to jump in.
She might not be able to.
She must not be able to hear us. We can move on to the next
We'll
one.
move on to the next one and hopefully Karen can get her technology working for her. So our next speaker on this application is Barbara Hamilton. Are you there, Barbara?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Right. So thank you for listening to my concerns. I'm an ornithologist and eastern glossy black cockatoo specialist. And the reason why I object to this proposal really is on several grounds. Firstly, the guidelines for detecting birds under the EPBC Act 1999 for glossy black cockatoos on Kangaroo Island, that's on page 322, is insufficiently accurate when applied to mainland glossy breeding behavior because they lay a single egg every year on Kangaroo Island, whereas on the mainland it appears that the birds which are so the birds on Kangaroo Island are subspecies of the glossy black cockatoos here, and the ones on the mainland appear to lay one egg every 2 years, so their fecundity is far lower. And in addition to that, they also don't utilize artificial nest hollows, which glossies on Kangaroo Island do. So that's a really important consideration. Then I'm concerned about the reduction of suitable feeding habitat resulting from the cumulative impact of other DAs that are in the pipeline, 230, 239, 241, 243, 245 along McCarrs Creek Road, which is going to have a huge cumulative impact on particularly species of Alcazarina torullosa, but also there's Alcazarina littoralis there. We know that glossies have been seen feeding on that particular on the particular property under discussion because we observed it on the 13th of April of this year. Birds typically will forage in feed trees for 3 or 4 days until they've exhausted their supply, and then they will return within 9 months to a year to that same tree again. There's also the suggestion that that glossy breeding habitat really just implies nest trees. I think that should be changed. So nest trees reflect nest trees. Breeding habitat should really include a freshwater source, feed trees as well as nesting trees, because those 3 things need to occur within a 1 kilometre radius for glossies to breed successfully. And in order for that to occur, they need to spend between 70 and 80% of their time foraging, which is thought to be the reason why our glossies really only breed every other year, because they have to spend much more time traveling between feed trees in order to feed sufficiently. Then the local population
Can I just, I'm sorry to interrupt, Karen. I think it's good we can see you now, but would you mind putting yourself on mute so that we can hear what Barbara has to say? Thank you.
Sorry, Barbara's got time now anyway, but.
Okay,
Yeah.
Barbara, would you like to just make your last point, please?
Yes, certainly. The one thing that I really think is often underestimated is habitat fragmentation. So the fragmentation results in edge species moving into the area and predominating. We've seen this in surrounding areas. For example, species like noisy miners, which are collaborative breeders and drive out all sorts of other species, as well as sulfur-crested cockatoos, which we know on the particular nest site we're discussing are harassing glossy black cockatoos and not allowing them to return to the nest until much later in the day, which compromises the chick. So all sorts of things like this have a massive impact that is really unexplored. And by comparing them with the Kangaroo Island subspecies, does our local glossies a disservice. And glossies, bear in mind that they're an umbrella species for a lot of other species that habitat this, that live in the same habitat.
Thank you very much, Barbara. I just have one question, Barbara, that relates to the proximity. So there's a nesting tree on the adjacent site to the subject site, yep?
Yes.
And a pair and perhaps a fledgling have been identified.
We know the exact pair that are breeding there. We know what they look like because individual females can be identified by their facial feathers, unique facial feathers.
So do you have any comment in relation to the proximity of that nesting site to the development site that we're talking about, and any impacts that development on the subject site may have on that nesting site?
Yes, certainly. I think it'll have an enormous impact. There's the noise. As I suggest, my greatest concern really is edge species. Then there's also the likelihood of pets causing a problem, particularly cats and dogs, because we also know that those glossies have to move to find a water source. Glossies are seed feeders, so they have to drink fresh water every day, which means they have to come to the ground. So this arboreal bird now has to put itself at risk coming to the ground to actually drink. And fledglings are under extreme risk for the first couple of months of their lives.
Thank you. Panel, do you have any questions for Barbara?
I can't.
Thank you.
No questions. Thank you very much, Barbara. Karen, how are you going with your technology? We can now see you. If you'd like to speak, we can see whether we can hear you. I think we can hear you. Karen, we can see you. Can you hear me? No, that doesn't look like Karen can hear me. No.
I'm not sure. Sorry, if Alison or Barbara, if you guys could send her a text. I'm not sure if you're in contact with her and let her know that we're ready for her to speak. We just can't.
I think she can't hear us. I think but that would be great if Alison or Barbara, if you know Karen.
I can. I've just messaged.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And in the meantime, we'll move on to Miranda Causey.
Oh, here we go. She can hear us, I think. Can you hear us, Karen?
Can you hear me, Karen?
Would you like me to speak?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Well done. You got there. So thank you for attending.
Chair and panel members, I am here today to strongly object to the proposed development at 237 McCarrs Creek Road, Church Point. This development will lead to the complete removal of bushland vegetation from the site. The vegetation impact statement claims the site has no map biodiversity values. This is simply not accurate. The land is part of a crucial ecological corridor. It supports native fauna and serves as an important link between surrounding bushland reserves and McCarrs Creek. The site is Zone C4, Environmental Living, which is designed to allow only low-impact residential development while preserving the bushland character. Yet this proposal seeks a large 3-storey excavation heavy build that would dramatically reshape the land, its natural topography and its visual profile. 18 mature trees are targeted for removal, including all the casuarinas on site. These trees are far more than just part of the landscape. They are the sole food source for the vulnerable glossy black cockatoos, a species with a very specialised diet. These birds depend entirely on casuarina seeds to survive. They also need mature hollow-bearing trees to breed. If these trees are lost, we are not just losing vegetation, we are removing the glossy black cockatoo's pantry and its nursery. This development brings them closer to local extinction in this area. The proposal does not address the importance of the understory and the mid-canopy layers, which provide essential shelter and nesting sites for other native birds, reptiles and mammals. In addition, excavation of nearly 4.8 metres of a bushfire-prone, steeply sloping site creates real risk of slope instability, stormwater runoff and settlement entering McCarrs Creek through Cicada Creek and ultimately pit water. This threatens wildlife but also the health of our waterways and neighbouring properties. Approving this kind of intensive development sets a dangerous precedent. Advice further clearing and overdevelopment
People walking in the traffic.
Charles Creek Road, putting more pressure on threatened species and increasing the risk of erosion, runoff and habitat loss. I'm seeking the panel to refuse this application and instead require a comprehensive ecological assessment, one that probably identifies the wildlife present on this site and considers the cumulative impacts of continual bushland and clearing in this sensitive area. Council has objections under the Biodiversity Conservation Act 2016 and the Environmental Assessment Act in 1979.
Thank you, Karen. Would you mind just making your
unique.
I don't think Karen can hear us.
Wildlife and the quality of life it gives to residents. Once this bushland is gone, it's gone forever. The glossy black cockatoos will not come back. The creeks will carry more sediment.
Can you hear me, Karen? I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you hear me?
People to this area will be diminished. Please do not allow this destruction of yet another patch of irreplaceable bushland. Protect this site for the wildlife and relies on it, for the stability of our environment and for future generations who deserve to enjoy a natural character of Church Point as we know it today. Thank you. Sorry, I've got problems.
Thank you, Karen. Can you hear me? No, I don't think Karen can hear me, but thank you very much for addressing the panel today. Thank you. Which now takes us to our last speaker for this development application, and that's Miranda Causey. Are you there, Miranda?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks.
I can see you.
Can you hear
hi.
me?
Yes, I can see you and hear you. Yep. Thank you. Please proceed.
Okay, great, thanks. So I just thank you for the opportunity to address the panel. I'm a councillor for Pittwater Ward on Northern Beaches Council. I rarely address the panel, but I'm speaking today on behalf of residents who've appealed to me to represent them. This proposal has caused members of this property's neighbourhood significant distress. The Church Point and Pittwater community are also appalled by the destruction of native bushland and development occurring along this stretch of McCarrs Creek Road. Number 237 is virgin bushland adjoining Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park and a council reserve. I won't go into the effect of the removal of the 18 trees because I think other speakers have already addressed that. However, I will add that the survey that was carried out with heavy machinery operating next door. So it's not, I'm not surprised that it failed to identify anything there, basically. So just moving on to bushfire threat, Council's own assessment states the proposal doesn't comply with the Planning for Bushfire Protection 2019 standard. Non-compliance means this development cannot be considered safe, suitable or in the public interest under section 4.15 of the EP&A Act. However, this site, because of its proximity to Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park, will always be bushfire prone, with ember attack being inevitable and the most frequent cause of loss of life, loss of houses during bushfires. The bigger the house, the bigger the risk. The same fire landscape exists here is at Ingleside, where the New South Wales government scrapped its proposed development due to the difficulty of evacuation and risk to life. This is a real risk. Houses were lost from this street in the bushfires of 1994 and 2004. Residents already experienced low water pressure and outages during hot weather. In a bushfire, local water can't be relied on. Approving another high-risk dwelling here puts both new and existing residents in danger. And I'd also like to mention the cumulative risk. This is one of 8 ex-Transport for New South Wales lots. 239 to 245 have already been approved and cleared, pushing asset protection zones further into habitat and exposing the slope. Adding 237 to this would just simply compound the danger and the environmental loss. I'd also add that this DA is a luxury single dwelling. It's not providing affordable housing. There's no public benefit. Council is setting a precedent, or is already setting a precedent after precedent for mansions marketed as holiday homes. And this is in direct conflict with community safety and the C4 environmental zonings. So in summary, I'd just like to note the non-compliance with planning for bushfire zone protection, the clearing of 18 trees to create a dwelling footprint and the APZ.
That's time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Causey. Panel, any questions for Councillor Causey?
Yes, I had one. Excuse me, councillor, but I'm losing
right.
my voice. Did you say earlier that you felt the survey plan was inaccurate?
Inadequate.
Inadequate.
I mean, 4 days is, I'm sorry, it's just ridiculous. I mean, you need to have a survey over the 4 seasons. Local ecologists have told me that you would need to have a survey for at least a year to actually understand the presence of wildlife at any site.
Mm-hmm.
So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions from the panel for Councillor Causey? Jason?
Yes, Councillor, I heard you say that you felt the proposal didn't comply with bushfire planning and council staff had concerns with that, but I don't know. In the report that's before us, it addresses bushfire and says they submitted a report which is satisfactory to the RFS, who gave terms of approval in response to a concern about bushfire. The council staff have stated that it is consistent with the requirement. So I'm just trying to tease that issue out a little bit so I understand your position. And
Jason, I might be able to clarify that. So the report, the assessment report says that it doesn't comply with the planning for bushfire guidelines. I think that's the document for. Doesn't comply with bushfire protection controls, but not controls. This document I think called something like planning for bushfire protection.
Yeah.
But that the RFS offered no objection. So
right. Yeah,
I think that might have been what you were referring to, Councillor Causey, was it?
And I would just add that having lived in this area for a long time, been, here during the 1994 bushfires, and also actually been in a bushfire as a reporter, I'm a journalist, it is very clear to me that and I know in 1994, the roads out of Pittwater were actually at a standstill. Church Point is right at the extremity of habitation, basically, in Pittwater. and that road is basically one way in and one way out. If there's a bushfire, nobody will be going out through Ku-ring-gai Chase, and they'll all be heading back through Church Point and down through the long route to get down through Mona Vale. But the roads along there were just simply jam-packed, and basically there are very few exit routes. During the 1994 bushfires, Mona Vale Road was closed, Powderworks Road was closed, Wakehurst Parkway was closed. So the exit routes to the coast, you can't get out to the west. To get to the coast, everything is basically at a standstill. So increasing more housing there, I think, is very foolish. But the other major issue is that in terms of materials used in this house, to relax the standards is again very foolish, because this house will come under ember attack. There will be more bushfires in Ku-ring-gai Chase, and there will be embers floating overhead. And as I said, that is the way most houses and homes begin due to bushfires. It's not actually from the surrounding trees, it's actually from the embers dropping overhead.
Thanks, Councillor Causey. Any other questions from the panel? Okay, well, we do appreciate all of the speakers addressing the panel today, and we will make our determination later in the day, and that determination will be posted on Council's website in the next 48 hours. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to our last item for the public meeting, which is 8 to 10 Beverley Place Curl. And we have a number of speakers on behalf of the applicant and no objectors to this application. Was there applicant's representatives? Was there anything that you wanted to say to the panel?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody, panel, and I was hoping to be able to speak to some of the neighbours that are obviously concerned about this development. There's myself and Jack are both, we fully appreciate kind of the concern around development and construction in people's backyards. We're not here to shy away from that. A big focus for us, and we understand that often people kind of under-deliver on the quality, but also more importantly, once things are approved, they under-deliver on it actually being implemented properly, and it does end up affecting people. So we do appreciate that. What I wanted to take the time to explain was this was developed for close to a year in advance. There's a reason council didn't object to any view loss and considerations like that, because we've had our neighbours in the forefront of our mind when we've been designing this. Where without dragging on, the company was kind of founded on, we want to build and improve the local community. It's in our backyard. We both live there, and a big focus of that is delivering to that promise. It's not just who we are; it's what the company is going to be delivering on. That I think is really important when you consider the stress that some neighbours have obviously expressed with things like truck movements and the appearance of the development. I think, as you'll understand, if you look through the documents, it's much more comprehensive than a lot of submissions I've seen and been a part of in the past. It has been carefully considered, and we've never had the opportunity to address any of the neighbours that are concerned, but I just wanted to take the opportunity to say this isn't just try and pick up a side, slap the biggest thing possible on and squeeze some value out of it. It's specifically in our backyard, and we're here to try and improve quality and the architectural what we're leaving behind. So it's just to that point. I think a kind of closing remark that I would probably suggest is the site is nearly 1,500 square meters. It's unique. It's a one-off. It doesn't exist in the area. That site size is unprecedented, and if it was only a few meters wider, it would be subdivisible under the DCP into 3 separate standalone dwellings. I'd like it to be considered that just because it's a unique site, it shouldn't be treated and assessed in a different manner to standalone sites that have been treated in a different way to what we're seeing on the same street and in their area. We're here to work with council. We want a really good outcome, and we're focused on that being the best outcome possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Angus. Any questions from the panel for Angus? No. All right. Well, thanks very much. As you've heard previously, we'll determine this application later in the day. And
sorry, Marsha. Are we able to?
Hi.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I'm the town planner for the applicant. And if you don't mind, I'll have a little spill shortly. But I've just got Jack as well from Refined Living that just wants to give a bit of a brief speech as well, if that's okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I should have asked whether there was anything you
No,
wanted to say.
that's fine. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Matt, and thanks for your time, panel. Look, I just wanted to really echo Angus' sentiments as well. I'm a local on Northern Beaches, born and bred here. I went to high school just over the hill, learned to surf at Curly. I believe we're quite a bit of a fabric of the community, and I'll be honest, I see a lot of developments being pushed in the area that aren't to my liking. I do get quite frustrated at the level of quality, the build, the maximisation of FSR, the scope. It does frustrate me on a personal level. So in saying that, you know, the whole reason we're doing what we're doing is we want to be sensitive, we want to be respectful, and I live in the community just over the hill. I don't want to have this burdened, site with which has, undue disrespect to neighbours and amenity and etc. It's not what we're here for. We are actually trying to build something quite nice. I wanted to start with that. I am including the delivery partnership as well as Watermark Construction Group at this stage, the preliminary head contractor. I just want to speak to a little bit of my experience. I've been building under Watermark now as my company for 10 years. I've delivered in excess of $50 million worth of projects all throughout Sydney and on the Northern Beaches. I take a lot of pride in what I do. I put up hoardings. I repaint them monthly. I mow the lawns. I take a lot of pride in what I do. I'm cleaning the streets daily. I have client liaisons that are nominated. My signage is impeccable. I really respect and take a lot of pride in that. And I really want that sentiment to be echoed, especially for the neighbours, direct neighbours. Unfortunately, none of them are on the call today, but I did want to speak to that and have it on the record because I believe it's imperative to make sure that everyone's consulted and everyone's given a fair and reasonable understanding. Look, in speaking to that as well, I do think that Refine's design and impact is being very, very well thought out. This has been going around and we're up to revision. We're into the second AC or something. We're past 26 revisions at this stage pre-DA. Like that is how much forethought has gone into this, and we've really tried to understand, our community, our local laws and everything, and really try to make sure that this is something that we can be proud of and that we leave a lasting legacy. Look, on that, my closing remarks are, we are responsible. We do and have delivered a very high quality before. And that's something that we do want to bring to especially to this site, but just in general. So on that, I appreciate your time, panel.
Thanks, Jack. Any questions for Jack? No, thank you. Matthew, was there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add just quickly, Marsha. Look, I don't want to harp on obviously council's recommendation of refusal. We are still of the opinion that the panel can support the application, and obviously the panel would have been through, from start to finish. We've made substantial adjustments from the RFI received by council, in particular around excavation within site setbacks. We substantially reduced that to make it minimal as possible. In that regard, we also reduced the bulk and scale. And we worked with council to get the landscaping for the entire site to be compliant with the 40% as well. So from my perspective, we've provided a revised statement, revised plans. On top of that, we've also provided a further response to council's reasons for refusal, which the panel has got. So again, I'm not going to go through those. But in our opinion, and from a planning perspective, with applications that I've been involved in on the Northern Beaches, is that this is not inconsistent with approvals that have been granted by council, in particular with excavation. In those assessments, we've provided not just the Warringah LGA, we've provided the entire Northern Beaches, where there's been a consistent allowance for excavation to get to your lift, a central lift and stair corridor. Even I don't know if the panel had the opportunity, but we also had a late submission from our engineer who provided 2 current projects that they're on. One of them is within 300 metres of the subject site at 45 Windora Street at Freshwater, which too was approved by the Northern Beaches Local Planning Panel, and that had up to 7 metres depth of sandstone, which would be consistent with this site. So from our perspective, we believe that the panel can support the application. We believe the bulk and scale is considerate. We've stepped the development up the site. The reports that we've provided show that there is a consistent bulk and scale in the Kelkel locality and the surrounding streets that show that there is 3 to 4 story buildings. Many of these buildings don't actually step with the site. They're straight up and down. So from our perspective, we do believe, and I have sort of provided in the written submission that on a couple of the items, if the panel does see fit, there is opportunity for conditions to be added as well that could satisfactorily address those matters as well. So, Madam Chair and panel members, we thank you for your time and available for any questions.
Thank you, Matthew. Panel, any questions for Matthew? No. All right. Well, we do appreciate all 3 of you attending today to address the panel, and our determination will be on Council's website later in the next 48 hours. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that concludes the items for the public meeting, and so I'll close the meeting now, and the panel will retire into closed session to discuss each application and make our determination. And just to repeat, the determinations will be put on Council's website within the next 48 hours. So thanks very much to everybody who attended today. The meeting's closed.